Over the past 2 months, my boyfriend was acting weird and a little sneaky. Around 1 month later, I accidentally found out that my boyfriend had contacted my two best friends to help plan a proposal and had already bought a ring. I also discovered that he took my mom out for lunch to discuss this with her. My sister also slipped a little and made it more obvious. I knew it was supposed to happen this February, but did not know the date. I already know that I did too much detective work and should not have found this out, and this is completely my fault. Last week, my friend randomly texted me that she saw my boyfriend at a coffee shop, and he did not recognize her. She mentioned it as a joke, but she casually said that he was with my dad. She does not know the dynamic of the relationship and that they had not met before. I have always mentioned that I would love to have my parents' blessing before a proposal, and I know many don't agree, but it is still common in the South and especially in my family, and this is also my personal preference. The same day, I called my boyfriend just for a chat, and he sounded a little off. I asked if he was okay and how his day was going, but did not reveal that I knew he met my dad. He said that it could be better, and mentioned work was a little overwhelming, and he needed to work harder to get into a better position at work as his job is not very stable. He said that it would make it easier if at some point this year I introduced myself to his dad. Again, he did not know I already knew. He also said that if he were a dad, he would want his daughter to be stable and with someone worthy. I did not know what to say, but I am heartbroken. Does this mean the meeting didn't go well? I guessed he did not get my father's blessing, and now I don't know how to feel. I was excited for something that is most likely not going to happen soon anymore, which is my fault. I do not like that this happened, and I cannot discuss it with him or make him feel better. What is the best way to address this? Context: I come from a well-off family, very educated. My boyfriend comes from a poor family, but he is kind, caring, hardworking, reliable, and so loving. To address the comments talking about me not introducing them, my boyfriend has met my mother and all my siblings. They have known him for the past 2 years and love him. My father knew about him. I have talked about him, and my father does not live with us. It was never a secret relationship. Now for an update. First of all, I want to say thank you to all those who commented to help out or to provide advice and constructive criticism. It is very easy to make assumptions about people's lives, so thank you for not doing that. After reading through your comments, I decided to address this issue with my boyfriend, as it would be best for our relationship moving forward. I was very honest and told him that I was very suspicious, and people slipped, so I knew that he was planning something and meeting with my family. I thanked him for that and for all the thought and effort he put in, and I made it clear I did not know exactly what he planned, but I appreciate it. I also told him that after our conversation about my father, I was worried about him and what he believed he needed to be for this to work. Apparently, I was overthinking it. So here is what I found out. 1. My boyfriend said that I made it clear that I would like my father's blessing and not necessarily permission. 2. My father did not say no and did not say yes. The conversation steered away from me and more into the financial aspects of life and responsibility, implying that he has a lot of work to do and a lot of things to achieve to be able to lead a stable life. My boyfriend took that as constructive criticism and did not wait for him to say yes about the proposal. As someone mentioned in the comments, he said these are all things we can work on over time together. Number 3, my boyfriend did see my friend at the coffee shop and already had a feeling I knew, but did not think I would overthink it this much. He said he did not mind because the surprise is more about how he will be proposing and not whether he will be. At this point, I think he was more excited than I am. Now, what I learned from this is that I need to work on my decision-making skills and communication skills. I decided to overthink things and to worry about minor issues in comparison to how important my relationship is to me. I think what I will do for now is continue supporting my boyfriend and reminding him that he is capable. As for my father, I will have a conversation with him once I get the chance. I think it would be healthy to discuss this with him and set some expectations and boundaries. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. You told your boyfriend that in order to propose, your dad needed to agree. You gave that power to your dad. That was your choice to outsource approval of your life choices. And giving that choice to another has consequences. Your dad almost certainly said no unless certain conditions were met. And my guess is that you didn't have a conversation with your dad before about how much you love your boyfriend, why you love your boyfriend, how your dad better say yes if asked, does he have any concerns, etc. Now it's time to talk with your dad. This is a mess entirely of your own making. You are the only one that can fix it, and your dad holds all of the keys. Because at 28 years old, you gave your autonomy away to your dad. Comment 2. 1. You're 28 years old. It's time to stop the games and secrecy. 2. If you love this man, tell him you know about his meeting with your father and it has no bearing on your decision to marry him. 3. You've probably already realized that real life is not a romantic comedy and things happen that are out of your control. But fortunately, in your case, you can still salvage everything and not abdicate the control over to your father. Number 4. Tell him now. 5. This post is ridiculous. Now, for the update. 3 days after I spilled the tea about the whole dad proposal saga, my boyfriend texts me out of the blue, like, hey, let's meet at our fave Italian joint for dinner. Between the lines, I could almost feel the nerves radiating from him. I mean, if you could actually feel someone's digital text nerves. Anyway, I show up, and the dude is like a fidget machine, avoiding eye contact and playing with his napkin like it's a stress ball. I'm sitting there, probably looking like I'm about to eat my own hand, and he hasn't even mentioned the proposal stuff once. Like, seriously? What is this? A no-commitment dinner? So, finally, he brings up my dad, saying he has about as much idea on how to approach him for the engagement as I have on how to cook a souffle. I suggest we both talk to my dad together, make it a family affair, ease the pressure. He hesitates, and then like a magician, changes the topic faster than you can say, what the hell? Now it's all about our weekend plans. A few days later, my mom invites us over for a family dinner to celebrate my dad's birthday. I'm like, this is it. The perfect chance to discuss the proposal with my dad. I was practically daydreaming about it. On the morning of the dinner, my boyfriend calls and drops the news that he has to work late and won't make it. Seriously? Dude, are you kidding me right now? My dad, in his classic dad fashion, jokingly asks if I have any news to share. I mean, he knows what's up, right? After dinner, I can't hold it in anymore. I bring up my boyfriend's no-show, explaining that he's probably out there saving the world one spreadsheet at a time. My dad seems a little surprised and casually points out that he's never met my boyfriend's family. Red flag, anyone? A few days later, I'm at the grocery store trying to figure out why avocados are so expensive when I see my dad chatting with a woman. As I get closer, I hear him talking about how impressive my boyfriend is. I'm like, wait a second, who is this woman? I eavesdrop like it's an Olympic sport and find out it's my boyfriend's mom. Shock, horror, disbelief, you name it. I'm feeling it. After our shopping spree, I call my boyfriend to get the 411 on this. He's genuinely surprised and says he didn't mention his mom because they're not exactly a Hallmark movie family. I decide to invite him over for dinner, hoping we can bridge this family gap. On the night of the dinner, he rolls up late, claiming he got stuck in traffic. I'm like, buddy, you live 5 minutes away. The dinner starts off as awkward as a first date. My dad is firing questions about their relationship like he's a detective, and my boyfriend is the prime suspect. The dude is stumbling over his words, looking like he's been hit by a truck when my dad asks about his family. As the night goes on, I can feel this weird energy in the air, almost like static electricity. My dad keeps pressing for details about the proposal, and my boyfriend finally admits he hasn't even spoken to his parents about us. Cue the dramatic music. Because this confession sends the room into chaos. We end up in a full-blown argument, and he storms off like it's the finale of a reality show. Days pass, and the silence is louder than a rock concert. Then I get a text from him asking to talk. We set up a meeting at the same Italian restaurant where we had our last serious convo. So romantic, right? During the meeting, he hits me with the idea of taking a break to figure our lives out. At this point, I'm like, whatever, dude. Over the next week, I start distancing myself from him. On the night before a planned family gathering, I decide to cut ties with him entirely. I shoot him a text explaining that we need to go our separate ways. I wish him well, the usual BS. The next day at the family gathering, my mom notices something's off with me, but lets it slide. As we gather around for a family photo, I realize it's time to focus on my own path forward. Edit. I didn't want to leave everyone hanging. So here's a little more context. My boyfriend and I were together for 2 years, and I thought we were on the same page regarding our future. His idea of a break was more to find himself, but I realized I needed to prioritize my own growth. My dad's reaction to my breakup was supportive, and my family is helping me navigate this new chapter. I'm focusing on myself and exploring new opportunities. Am I the idiot for exposing my boyfriend's friends cheating and causing chaos in our social circle? My boyfriend and I have been together for about 1.5 years, and he recently bought a ring but hasn't proposed. I think that might now be out the window because this weekend I got very drunk, and stupidly and carelessly, I cannot believe I did this. I said to the friend's wife that the friend isn't faithful to her. Ugh. This man does cheat on his wife constantly, as does his other friend who was there with us that night, with his pregnant wife. I have a lot of issues surrounding all of this, and I've talked to my boyfriend about how much it bothers me a lot, and he has basically said that these are his long-term friends and their actions aren't his responsibility or his fault. I do really trust my boyfriend and love him so much, but I have serious trauma about married men being unfaithful because my boyfriend prior to this was secretly married and it really messed me up. I've projected that resentment and anxiety onto his friends, and I've felt it inside but kept it in, up until Saturday when I made the comment to his wife while intoxicated. It caused a fight between them. My boyfriend and I went home, and I texted the wife the next day to apologize, and also said that I was projecting things when I told her about the cheating. My boyfriend asked me to cover it up, and I did, because I wanted to try to somehow preserve the relationship between my boyfriend and me and not jeopardize the friend's marriage, even though it gutted me to do so on many levels. I know my feelings of anger about the cheating friends are valid, but it absolutely wasn't my place to say anything. I'm looking into therapy to handle my anger about infidelity, and I am considering seeking treatment for alcohol too, because I think I've been using that to cope with the painful feelings I still have that are left over from my last relationship. But I'm freaking out because now I have created this giant mess, both for my boyfriend, his friend, his wife, and for the relationship between my boyfriend and me. I damaged his trust a lot, and I know I look like a liar and manipulator. I am reeling and incredibly embarrassed and sad and really looking for any advice people might have about how I should approach things with my boyfriend, and if there is anything else that people could think I could try to do to make up for my mistake. Thank you in advance for any thoughts you might have. I'm really struggling and feel awful. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. He has basically said that these are his long-term friends and their actions aren't his responsibility or his fault. Then I am guessing he's not friends at all with their wives because real friends don't hide this kind of stuff from them. I don't know if I could stay friends with someone willing to do this to their partner. It doesn't matter how long-term they are. Comment 2. You decided to lie to a woman about her getting cheated on to save your relationship? There are so many red flags here and you're choosing to ignore them. Let me guess, you also think that your man is the only one who doesn't cheat? I would be the one moving on instead of worrying if he's moving on. Now for the update, I woke up the next day with this ridiculous knot in my stomach. Like, what was I thinking? I mean, I know what I was thinking. I was drunk out of my mind, but still. I couldn't shake off the mess I made with my drunken comment about infidelity. So I thought maybe a chill brunch with my boyfriend Matt would help. I texted him and decided to meet up at our favorite spot, this cute little cafe that makes the best avocado toast. Anyway, I got there a bit early because I wanted to talk things over with him. So I'm sitting there, scrolling through my phone, trying to distract myself, when I overhear this couple at the table next to me talking about infidelity. Like, seriously? of all the topics in the world. They were discussing how cheating can be a deal breaker and if they could ever forgive their partner for cheating. Honestly, I felt like I was going to choke on my smoothie. I couldn't believe how ironic it was, and it just made me feel even worse about my stupid comment. So, Matt finally shows up and we order our coffees. But let me tell you, the mood was super awkward. I mean, you could feel the tension. I wanted to bring up the whole fight between his friends, but I didn't know how to start. I finally just said it, asking if he knew what was going on. He just brushed it off like it was no big deal. I could tell he didn't want to talk about it. So I suggested we focus on our relationship, which, okay, fair enough, but I couldn't shake off the feeling that something was off. I mentioned wanting to apologize again to the friend's wife, but he was all like, no, don't do that. It might make things worse. I was like, really? How could it get any worse? But I didn't push it. I didn't want to start a fight over brunch. The following week, I went to a family gathering for my cousin's birthday. It was fun, lots of food, and my grandma trying to set me up with every single guy there. Classic family vibes. My younger sister, Lisa, pulled me aside and asked if I'd heard about the rumors about Matt's friend cheating. I was like, what? She said she heard it from one of her friends. So I confronted Matt later that night, asking if he knew anything. He seemed surprised, like genuinely shocked. But I noticed this flicker of hesitation in his eyes. It was like he knew something but didn't want to share. So the next day, I decided to do some digging. I mean, what else was I going to do? I went on social media, looking at posts from Matt's friend and his wife. I found this post that hinted at some relationship troubles. The wife had this cryptic comment about needing space, and I was just like, oh boy. I confronted Matt again, showing him the post. He got all defensive, saying their relationship wasn't about his friends. I mean, true, but come on, this was important. A few days later, I got a message from the friend's wife apologizing for the fight at the dinner. She confessed that she found some suspicious texts on her husband's phone. I was like, oh no, not again. She said he had been lying about where he goes on weekends. I was fuming. She told me to keep it a secret for now. I invited Matt over for dinner, hoping to create a chill atmosphere to drop this big news. So, we're having dinner, and I casually bring up the friend's issues. And when I mentioned the texts, Matt's demeanor shifted completely. He got all evasive and wouldn't make eye contact. Then he finally admits that he suspected his friend was cheating. I texted the friend's wife, offering my support and suggesting we meet up to talk. We agreed to meet at this local coffee shop. The meeting was tense but productive. She revealed she had more evidence and had been keeping tabs on her husband. We came up with a plan to confront the friend together. We decided to have a dinner gathering with all the couples. I invited Matt, saying it was a chance to resolve issues among friends. He seemed on board, but I could tell he was still a bit hesitant. At the dinner, the atmosphere was so thick with tension. The friend's wife and I exchanged knowing glances. We waited until dessert to drop the big news, and let me tell you, it caught everyone off guard. The friend's wife presented the evidence, and the friend went pale. The evening ended with him storming out, leaving everyone speechless. I mean, what a dramatic exit. Matt and I left the dinner arm in arm, and I couldn't help but feel a mix of relief and anxiety. I decided to keep my distance from the friend and his wife. I knew the drama was far from over, and I just wanted to enjoy my relationship with Matt without all the chaos. Mini update. The friend's wife reached out again and asked to meet. She seemed anxious and mentioned having more information. I'm worried about what she could reveal and how it might affect us. Am I the idiot for refusing to let my abusive husband meet our newborn after he demanded a divorce while I was pregnant? My husband decided a couple of days ago that he wants a divorce. I am 36 weeks pregnant. We had everything all lined up to bring the baby home. We have had a rocky relationship with alcoholism that ended up with him in the hospital. We have been sober since January 2024, but the relationship still had problems. He tends to be pretty harsh with me, belittles me, and calls me names. I got pregnant unexpectedly in June, and though I didn't really feel ready, he and I both wanted kids, so I kept the pregnancy. Since I've been pregnant, He's punched a hole in the wall, taken the car keys from me, and called me all kinds of names, like calling me lazy for being sick while pregnant. We have tried couples counseling, and I am in therapy on my own. I started standing up for myself more, and he said that I'm calling him a piece of shit for the things in the past, and it's affecting his mental health. I've never said those words. All I've said is that I don't like his behavior and it's hurt me. That's why he wants a divorce, because I can't move past the things he's done even though they keep happening. I also quit my job when we got married because he said that it didn't pay me enough to be a full-time job. I gave my car to my brother because we didn't need more than one since he worked from home. I only have about $200 to my name and no assets. Luckily, the house we live in is my parents', so I can stay here, but I can't afford a lawyer or even to pay any bills. He's going to take most of the furniture in the house and the baby things we bought. I'm so scared, and I don't know what to do. Part of me feels like this was his plan all along, because he's always wanted a child. He says that if I'm cordial, he will do 50-50 custody, but if I'm not, he will go for full custody. He's already weaponized my mental health, because in my first trimester, he told me I had to go on antidepressants, or he would tell my obstetrician I'm mentally unstable. He won't talk to me and locks himself in his office. Every time I try to talk to him, he says I'm violating his boundaries and that I'm insane. I don't want him at the birth of our child anymore. I also would like to put my last name on our child's birth certificate if possible, since I never changed mine. What do I do now? I can't afford a lawyer. How does 50-50 custody of a newborn even work? I want to breastfeed, and now I'll have to quickly find a job after being unemployed for 2 years while he is on company leave for 6 weeks. I haven't told my family yet because I don't know how they are going to react. I don't have any friends to confide in either, so I'm feeling really alone. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. After having a child, there's one thing I am certain of. He will not want the baby full time. Even if he could take the baby, he can't. That's insane. The sheer unending responsibility of caring for a newborn 24 hours a day, 7 days a week would be entirely too much, and he would give it back after the first night. I'm so sorry this is happening to you. I think what's likely to happen is that you will keep the baby and he will have to pay alimony, and you can absolutely put your last name on the birth certificate. Comment 2. Find a lawyer. Tell your family because it is their house. He can't take the baby from you. You can get government assistance. He will have to pay child support. Tell the lawyer he is an alcoholic. This will help with custody. Try to get a screenshot of his abuse. Good job for speaking up. Get help from your family. You're in a tough situation with pregnancy and need help. You got this. Now, for the update. Here's the update. A month has passed since the last update, and I'm back home with my newborn baby. The birth was honestly the easiest part of all this. My husband didn't show up for delivery. I let him know when labor started, but he didn't bother to respond. So I went to the hospital with my parents, and they helped me through the whole delivery. I don't think I could have done it without them. After the baby was born, my husband called, demanding to visit and see the baby. I told him no, and not just because he wasn't there for the birth. I pointed out his behavior during my pregnancy, and I made it clear that he had no right to be there. He warned me that he'd take legal action for parental rights if I didn't comply. My parents encouraged me to document everything, including his aggressive behavior. So that's what I've been doing. I started looking for part-time work to support myself and the baby. I went to a local job fair, hoping to find something suitable. While at the job fair, I ran into a former coworker who expressed concern about my situation. She mentioned hearing rumors about my husband's drinking again, which made me feel really uneasy. When I got home, I found my husband waiting outside, demanding to come in. We had a heated argument on the doorstep. He accused me of ruining our family, insisting that he deserves to be part of the baby's life. I just locked the door and didn't say another word. Well, my parents saw the commotion and came outside to step in. They confronted him, demanding he leave their property. He retaliated by claiming that he would get a lawyer and take me to court for custody. Later that week, I got a letter from a lawyer representing him. The letter detailed his intent to seek joint custody and outlined his demands. I reached out to a local community center for resources, but honestly, I found it hard to navigate. During a family dinner, my brother brought up my husband and it sparked some tension. My sister even suggested I should consider reconciliation for the baby's sake. This comment upset me and led to an argument with my family. I left the dinner early, feeling really frustrated. The next day, I found out my husband had been posting on social media about his new life. He claimed he was single and looking forward to being a father. I can't even explain how angry that made me. So, I decided to get legal advice. My first meeting with a lawyer left me feeling more confused than before. The lawyer outlined potential outcomes, emphasizing the difficulty I might face. I finally decided to tell my parents about the custody threats, and they were shocked. They agreed to help me with legal costs. I started preparing for my first court date. On the day of the court hearing, my husband showed up with his lawyer. The judge asked us to discuss custody arrangements, but the tension was so intense, the hearing ended without resolution. I realized that this situation is only escalating, with no sign of improvement in sight. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.